Want to put your head in the blender and turn on the liquefy switch? Simone Dubois frowned, then laughed at Tate Bennett, the parish coroner from New Orleans, as he took a seat at the dark wood table across from her. As always, Tate was impeccably dressed in a white button-down shirt and black slacks. His skin was dark and flawless, a gift from his Creole and Haitian heritage. With sharp, sculpted features, he was extremely good-looking, and those dark eyes of his never missed a detail. His impeccable attire was a sharp contrast to her faded jeans, navy sweater, and riotous mop of dark brown curls that would never obey any style Simone attempted to beat them into. The only feature she had that she considered even remotely interesting were her hazel brown eyes that turned gold whenever the sun hit them. She wiped her mouth on her napkin. Honestly, I can't say that I have. But there have been a few other heads I'd like to do that too. Why? He dropped a folder in front of her. How many serial killers can one city have? I'm not up on those stats. Depends on the city, I suppose. Are you telling me we have another one here? He unwrapped his silverware and placed his napkin on his lap. I don't know. Couple of weird murders have come through my office over the last 2 weeks. Seemingly unrelated. Those 2 words were loaded with meaning. But I have a good feeling on this. And it's not the, oh, look, it's a bright, shiny world kind. Simone took a sip of her soda before she opened the file and grimaced at the grisly crime scene photos. As always, they were gory and detailed. I just love the gifts you bring me for lunch. Other girls get diamonds, me, I get mayhem and blood. And all before noon. Thanks, Tate. He leaned over and stole a French fry from her plate. Don't worry, boo, I'm buying. Besides, you're the only woman I know I can meet for lunch and talk business with. Everyone else gets squeamish. She looked up. You know, I'm not sure that's much of a compliment. Trust me, it is. If LaShonda ever comes to her senses and leaves me, you're the next Mrs. Tate. Again, not flattering to either of us. Should I tell LaShonda what her hubby thinks of her? She teased. Please don't. She might poison my cush-cush, or worse, beat my tush-tush. Simone laughed again. Don't worry, I'd make sure and bring her to justice for it. I'm sure you would. He paused to order a shrimp po' boy and fries from the waitress. Simone continued to look at the photos while he spoke to the young goth woman who was taking his order. Yeah, these pictures were pretty gruesome. But then these types of photos usually were. How she hated that the world was filled with people capable of doing such horrific things to others. What people could do to each other was bad enough. What the other, non-human inhabitants could do was a whole other nightmare. Literally. And she was more than just a little acquainted with both kinds of monsters. The waitress headed back toward the kitchen. Tate leaned closer. You getting any vibes from the other side? She shook her head. You know it doesn't work that way, T. I have to be touching the body or something that belonged to the victim. Photos only give me a paper cut. And the willies. Shivering in sympathy for the way the poor woman had died, she closed the file and slid it back toward him. Won't come to the morgue with me after lunch? She arched one brow at his offer. I shudder at the thought of the pickup line you must have used the night you met LaShonda. Come with me, baby, and see my collection of stiffs. He laughed. Ha ha! God, I love your sense of humor. Too bad a married man was one of the very few people who actually got her offbeat humor. The only other person to really appreciate it was a teenaged ghost who'd been haunting her since she was 10 years old. Jessie was seated to her right, but only Simone knew that. No one else could see or hear him. Oh, lucky her. Especially since Jessie was locked in a late 1980s time warp. Case in point, he was wearing a light blue blazer reminiscent of Don Johnson from Miami Vice, with a curly black pompadour courtesy of John Cryer from the movie